Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 video. Now what I got for you today is not quite a viewer submitted game, however this is a game from the Amateur League series. The tournament organizers have been selecting the best of the best games for me to go ahead and cast, and I'm not gonna lie, the ones that I've casted so far were absolutely hilarious. So I am ready for something a little bit crazy. Now, one thing to note, rather than the previous ones, these are not actually Silver or Bronze League or Gold League games. Both of the players are rather high up on the ladder. One of them is in Master League and the other is in Diamond. So I'm assuming Master 3 versus Diamond 1 or so as far as skill level goes. That does mean that we are up for a good game. Now, let's go ahead and get started today by introducing the players. Spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Acid Plant LE and playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's in Master League and he goes by the name of Sergio. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, already scouting around here with an SCV and going for a very peculiar wall-off. He's in Diamond League and he goes by the name of Firebird. Or at the very least I think it's Firebird, I don't think it's Flitterbird. I think that has to be a capital I, not an L. Regardless, he's playing extremely cautious. I think he's a little worried of any kind of proxy barracks aggression. Now, Terran versus Terran, it's an excellent matchup. It's a really difficult matchup and one of the matchups that I am personally pretty bad at. I absolutely love watching it. I really enjoy casting it as well, but I'm not very good at playing it just because the matchup is rather difficult. Now, Sergio manages to get an SCV inside of his opponent's main base and he already gives him a sticker. It's just like elementary school all over again. He already gives him a sticker to show his appreciation of his opponent. Is he gonna put it on his forehead? It's the real elementary school question. Now, while this is going on... Oh, Mr. Firebird, I was gonna say, he's producing a factory, but it's right here, outside of his opponent's main base. Now, obviously, there is this little bit of dead space right in between this area as well as the main, so we'll see what exactly he's got in store for us. Bit of a peculiar build, though, by Firebird. He decided to go for the second supply depot first, and now he finally goes for the command center on the low ground. Still no orbital in the main. I already see a lot of room for improvement right here for Mr. Firebird, because even though he's going for a bit of a proxy, this build is a little bit risky. In particular, because we do have, you know, a very defensive posture right here for Sergio. He could definitely deal some damage now that he's got 2 Reapers out as well. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. Sergio, though, did decide to go for the double barracks rather than the starport after the factory. He could still add one on here in just a little bit, but this does mean that he's going to be in a world of hurt once Firebird gets this damage going. So a starport is coming up, a tech lab on that factory as well. Is he going to go for an armory? There he is. Yep, okay. So this is going to be a delayed Thor drop, I guess? Not entirely sure. This seems like a highly inefficient version of a Thor drop, but eventually it will come out. Now, here are these 2 Reapers that made their way across the map, and since that command center on the low ground was delayed so very much because of the second depot, Firebird did not quite finish his second CC yet. This is really gonna hurt him in the long run. Now, beautiful mine there actually on that Reaper. It is gonna be able to get rid of one of the opposing Reapers, and somehow, some way, even though Firebird did end up losing one of the Reaper men for free, the Reaper there will be shooed away, and I hope for, well, the pink Terran player's sake that he's going to be able to finish up this CC here eventually. This can really badly hurt. Marine's obviously very good. I think they should be able to get rid of all of this. There we go. And hopefully, after that, the command center will finish up as well. Now, while that's all going on, right, Firebird did hit a bit of a supply block. He needs to finish up this command center here first. Instead, he's gonna go for another barracks. Oh, man. Mr. Firebird, if you happen to be watching this game, right, if you are watching this cast, please do a little bit of research as far as, like, standard builds go. You're gonna be in such a vastly better position, man. This is so inefficient. It's gonna definitely hurt the outcome of this push. Now, let's have a look. A Thor drop is now currently coming up. There are, inside of the main base of the blue Terran player, 7 Marines right now, as well as 1 siege tank. But obviously, these units are mostly going to be near the natural location, which makes perfect sense here for Sergio. That does mean that the main is mostly free. He also did not scout anything right here on the left-hand side of the map. And since he did go for a rather late starport, and he's actually getting himself a reactor on it first, he's not going to be able to go for any like Viking play or anything else to really ward away this Medivac. So with proper micro, this can deal a huge amount of damage. There we go, 2 SCVs going down almost immediately. And I don't think that this Thor drop is done just yet. For some reason, Firebird decided to boost forward there. A little bit risky, but he is going to pick up once again and get on out of there. I almost feel like he needs to just grab the tank. He does just grab it. Get it. Get it. Well, you do have to... Oh, there we go. Pick up the Thor once again as well. And Firebird manages to boost out of there. Wonderful little play there by him. Really like that decision. And obviously, while this is going on at home, he's just simply transitioning into that bio siege tank army. TVT though, I'm a big fan. I think it's always a lot of fun. The reason that this matchup is so very difficult is because of the fact that siege tanks can shoot away further than they can see, but they cannot shoot right next to where they are standing. It's kind of the basis of all evil in TVT. It's so curious because you kind of need to have that air dominance to make sure that siege tanks can shoot away far enough, and with obviously the Marines being no gas calls whatsoever, or them having no gas calls whatsoever, they can really become extremely valuable too, because you can just dump a lot of minerals on them and deal a lot of damage with them too. Well, that one was not quite as successful, right? Firebird is gonna once again boost away. There's this really large dead space on Acid Plant Alley where you can indeed... Well, I guess that's the Acid Plant, technically, right? But anyways, there's this really large dead space where you cannot quite land your Thor. He's gonna drop it off in a very peculiar spot. Now, Thors, they deal a stupid amount of damage. Firebird dropping a mule here as well to, I guess, repair up this Thor. There we go. And actually, this is dealing a stupid amount of damage. Look at that. He's actually going to be able to deal more damage than these Marines can provide right now. The Thor drop being very, very efficient. It looks like another siege tank may very well end up dying. I don't know exactly if you really want to go after all of this, though. And I think eventually the Thor will go down, but not without a fight. This is a perfect example, guys, of why standard builds are considered to be the standard. For example, if Sergio would have gone for something a little bit more orthodox, he probably would have had that Viking out ages ago. Just simply having a Viking in this space would have already hurt the Medivac so much that the Thor drop is not really going to be a potential opener, you know? He's just going to be able to spot it much earlier and then also damage the Medivac, putting essentially a timer on this whole harass. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy casting viewer-submitted games so much. Because these kind of strategies, because of that very reason, right? Because everyone opens one barracks, one factory, one starport. It's very difficult to play these kind of builds. However, at this level of play, a wide variety of strategies is still possible. And it's one of the things that I personally really like. I do think, though, that both of these players would really benefit from just simply trying out something a little bit more classical. But that's not why we're here, right? We're just here to watch and maybe judge a little bit. Just a little bit. Anyway, the one damaged storm made its way once again to the other side of the map. One siege tank in a phenomenal spot. Marines are going to stim forward. There is a second tank there in the back. Beautiful pullback right there by Firebird. He also indirectly forced the council there on that command center that was building. And right now, Firebird is really starting to pile on the pressure. I like this one a lot. Both players doing an excellent job so far, spending their resources. Let's see if they're going to be able to continue doing this for a little while longer. And here's that high ground vision that I was talking about, right? And that distance that the siege tanks can shoot at. It's so sick. Obviously, you can get additional vision as well by using a scan like that, but it does mean that Sergio is the one that chews away that opposing siege tank. Thor inside of the main base. I guess it lost its medevac. Yeah, the missile turret has one kill on it. So this Thor's name, or this Thor's days are numbered as well. And it does mean that Sergio manages to deflect another little bit of aggression. But yeah, this matchup is super dynamic. It's extremely difficult to play. When you know a player is good at TVT, you know they're an excellent StarCraft player. It's just such a difficult thing to do, unless they just Marine rush every single game. But playing macro TVT, super, super tricky. There's so much micro involved and so many cool dynamics between the units. Right now, for example, right, we know Sergio sort of has this contain sorted. He knows he's not really gonna die here. And that means that two medevacs full of units can slip out and go to the other side of the map. Now, we do see that Firebird has been sending the majority of his units across. Luckily, right here, though, for Firebird, he manages to scout that this drop is incoming. He does lose a medevac as well as a siege tank for it. But there's no denying that this still is one of those things that could deal a lot of damage otherwise. And I think he's rather losing a siege tank and a medevac than a whole base. Now, it does look like Firebird's proxy has been found. The starport, at the very least, takes critical damage just like that. Firebird, though, coming up with a bit of a surround. I think he's gonna have to pick up and get on out of there. Boost! Ugh. One medevac does end up dying there, but the rest of the Marines, I guess they have a tale to tell. They're gonna be able to boost home once again and meet up with the rest of these blue Terran units. Alright, looks like another command center will be constructed here in a little bit. Who's queuing that up? Oh, he built it inside of the main and he's now flying it over. I was gonna say. That seems a little bit slower than you ideally want it to be, right? There's a lot of queuing of buildings already in this game. But Firebird, even though his early game build order was not necessarily the most efficient, he did just now finish up a whole lot of upgrades. He's got that superior economy lead, and he's really doing a good job spending his money. I mean, I have to say, both of these players here, you can see they are really on top of their macro for the most part here. Both floating just a little bit more gas than you want, but I've casted many Diamond and Master League games where both players are just simply flooding thousands of resources. It's relatively common, even at this level of play. But Firebird, look at this cheeky player. He goes for a 4th base. Luckily for Sergio, or for Firebird rather, Sergio's units apparently are you know, lacking peripheral vision, I guess. They're like horses, you know. They've got these flaps on the side of their eyes. For some reason, these Marines cannot look over their shoulder and see that there's a command center building right next to where they are standing. I guess they should start eyesight test as well as part of the Terran Marine training program, because this seems a little bit ridiculous. I secretly hope for Sergio he finds this, man. Gold bases bring so many resources in particular when you want to make Marines. Obviously, they are absolutely phenomenal. Having those golden minerals is really gonna boost that eco really quickly. Now, Sergio must be feeling pretty happy. He held the aggression earlier. He managed to secure his 3rd base. He's got a solid amount of economy, but he can very quickly fall behind against the gold base player's eco. Now, the Vikings are roaming this area, but the first mule has already landed. Fun fact, you don't really want to land mules on golden minerals. They bring back just as many resources as a mule mining blue minerals. There's no benefit in dropping them there other than you wasting valuable golden mineral patches. This used to be different back in Wings of Liberty, but one Marine, Jimmy the Hero, scouts out that indeed there is a command center landed at the gold base for Firebird. And this will indeed put all of these blue troops in action as well. They're gonna try and make their way over here. Now, the one Thor still dealing damage. It's actually got 15 kills, which is a little ridiculous. But I think with this positional player right here, Sergio is gonna be easily able to clean this base up. A wonderful move here by the player in blue, not really risking it, although Firebird, no, don't throw him into the Terran meat grinder. Whew. Almost sacrificing all his units. Now, mules obviously are pretty good at repairing, so maybe the command center will live to, I guess, fly and drop mules another day. Firebird, though, already anticipating the loss of his 4th, did decide to take another one right here, and the same can be said for Sergio. So nice back and forth game so far. Both players showing that they are very even in skill level. Neither of them really had an advantage just yet, and Sergio showing us some nice Viking micro. He is going to be able to get rid of that command center. Now, I'm sure you guys are waiting too, right? You're waiting for this game to turn wild. I have no clue what to expect, but I just know that all of the viewer-submitted games, or at the very least all the games that were submitted of this tournament, they've got a bit of a twist. They're not quite your regular game. So I'm excited to see when this game is really gonna become a little bit wild. Now, Firebird, man, this is one of my pet peeves. When Terran players go for drop play, and they literally fly it through the sensor tower radius. Right? Sergio, I mean, he's gonna send his entire army for the most part, it looks like, which is a little excessive for just one medevac, but there's no denying. He knows that medevac is there. At the same time, we have another sensor tower over here. 99% overlap, except for this nice little square in that area. All the existing sensor towers already. Not entirely sure if that one is really providing the value that he was looking for. But regardless, both players are right now sitting back for the most part. There is some medevac harass, and we do see some Marines making their way inside of the main, but this should really not deal all too much damage whatsoever. In particular, now that the medevac is gone. Look at this ring of turrets, right? It makes me think of StarCraft 1. Anyways, the Marines and the siege tanks are making their way across the map. Sergio really does have a pretty menacing army. 122 army supply for the player in blue versus only 94 here for our player in pink. But Terran versus Terran, man, it's all about positioning. Sometimes the player with the smaller army can easily win just because of positional play. And there we do the tank sieging up, or we do see the tank sieging up. Both players, I guess, snarling at each other, trying to force the other to back up. And I think right now is a perfect time to start producing a lot more Vikings as well as those Liberators. Firebird, though, getting himself a lot of starports here. Some of them with tech labs. I mean, you could obviously get yourself the Liberator ranged upgrade. Very useful. Oh my god, dude, he just stimped all Marines to try and catch 4 Vikings. Whew. Little bit greedy there, Sergio. Don't really want to be taking the risks. Well, besides setting up a ring of missile turrets around his main, he's also setting up a ring of missile turrets as well as sensor towers everywhere. If anything makes it across the halfway point, Sergio will be aware of it. As a matter of fact, I think he can just simply see that that command center is building over here. Still a little bit of aggression, but look, he can see that there is a CC building over in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Massive drop now, though, for Sergio. Even though the Viking numbers are in favor of Firebird, the medevacs have made their way inside of the main base of the opponent, and that means that this can really hurt. Obviously, the real immobile part of this army is sitting there on the low ground. I wonder if there's going to be enough right here for our player in pink to clean this one up. A lot of the Marines were fighting buildings rather than the opposing army, and I think, judging by the fact that the Vikings have now also returned and the medevacs are falling, that Firebird is in a phenomenal spot to absolutely decimate that army. Wonderful work. At the same time, a couple Marines also have a death wish. They decide to run forward there, sacrificing them towards the, I guess, Terran siege tank meat grinder. But the majority of those Terran units are once again heading home. One missile turret there, blocking the positioning of that 5th command center. Little bit painful there for Sergio, but at the very least, he's still got a really nice defensive posture. And what I said earlier is true, though, about TVT. Like, Terran versus Terran is one of the few matchups in StarCraft where you can actually win the game with a smaller army. Positional play is absolutely critical. The addition of planetary fortresses, but also just simply the defensive posture of siege tanks as well as Liberators, and then obviously the defender's advantage. It's all extremely noticeable. So even though Firebird's army is much smaller right now than his opponent's, he's definitely not out of the water. Or rather, Sergio's army is much smaller than his opponent's. He's definitely not in a terrible spot here yet. He does need to be careful, though. Firebird now, with that really big amount of Vikings, he can really start adding on a lot of Liberators, and that's exactly what he's doing. Look at that, 6 Liberators at once. That's what I wanted to see. Once you can start getting those Liberators, you can leapfrog them forward, force the unsiege there on those tanks, and here's the first couple of them arriving, and then you can obviously unsiege your own tanks and start pushing forward in that direction too. So that siege tank definitely is going to be in a world of hurt. The Vikings don't need to come forward and get rid of those Vikings as well. Sergio, recognizing that he's going to be in an extremely tough spot to actually fight this army, even though his army is tiny, rather than actually engaging against the main force of his opponent, it looks like he may very well be going for the counter-attack instead. Firebird's army not quite recognizing what's going on. There we go. The Stimpack button has been pressed because all of a sudden the blue Terran units made their way across the map. The Liberators that I liked so very much earlier, they're being picked off for practically free just by a bunch of those blue Marines. At the same time, Firebird stimming forward, trying to deal the damage here to the natural expansion of his opponent as well. That one Liberator providing a lot of value here. I think that means that the Planetary Fortress is going to be in a world of hurt as well. At the same time, though, Sergio, while having that smaller army, he's still getting a lot more damage done a lot quicker. Because once more, right, this is a bit of a peculiar spot here for Firebird. He's pushing up inside of the main base. There's that one siege tank dealing so much damage. And while Firebird eventually is going to be able to push through, already Sergio has engaged the main base of his opponent. I guess that one tank is kind of stuck in there anyway, right? It can siege up over there. There we go. Provide a little bit more value. Firebird did get that command center in the bottom left-hand corner. This one was spotted, however, by that massive amount of sensor towers that Sergio produced earlier. He does still have 2 planetary fortresses, though, and they can deal a huge amount of damage as well. Siege tanks, though, perfectly capable of outranging that. Sergio also still has that command center in the top left-hand corner, but Firebird has lifted all of his structures, or at the very least the ones that he wanted to. One factory apparently did not quite make the cut, but both players are losing so many units left and right. Firebird is now stimming forward, still inside of his main base, or rather the main base of his opponent. And we are in one of the craziest base race scenarios that I've ever seen. Obviously, the win condition for StarCraft is destroying all of your opponent's units. Or not units, rather. Sorry, I misspoke there. It's killing all of your opponent's players' structures. If you manage to destroy all structures, that's the actual win condition in StarCraft, you win the game. Now, obviously, there are some flying buildings here remaining. Can we have a look? So, look at the structures tab right there in the top left-hand corner. There's 6 barracks still here for Sergio. Only 1 barracks and 1 orbital command here for Firebird. Now, the tanks are going to be able to get rid of this eventually, right? There we go. That planetary fortress obviously is being outranged by those siege tanks. And he's actually going to land his own command center over there too. Now, neither player is revealed yet. I think Firebird needs to be careful, man. He cannot really take damage on the structures he has. That 1 barracks, it kind of needs to stay alive right now. Sergio's army, though, trying to go to, I guess, the safety of the top left-hand corner. At the same time, the planetary fortress is left all alone as the barracks are making their way towards the other side. Now, Liberator's not that good at anti-air. The Vikings, though, gonna be very useful. Another command center there falls. And Sergio is starting to run out of buildings here as well. He's got a command center in the bottom left, and he has a command center in the top right. He does have a reasonable amount of resources, but it's really Firebird who's got a huge amount of stuff. The only thing is... oh man, this barracks is actually absolutely critical. Firebird cannot use, or cannot lose that one. Ooh, it's burning. It's burning. He needs to actually repair that. I think he really needs to keep some of these buildings alive if he cannot afford it, right? Orbital command. Oh my god. Oh, he's gonna be able to just barely keep it alive. What the heck? Orbital command is still available here. He's gonna land it at one of the most random locations. Please don't drop mules. Alright, he just landed it real quick to scan somewhere else on the other side of the map. Neither player, though, really knows how much mining there still is. Sergio has got 20 SCVs still, whereas Firebird only has 2. Neither player has been revealed, though, so they know it's going to be tricky. Both of them trying to send small groups of units around the map to figure out where the last mining bases are. I've got a feeling, though, that Firebird kind of knows, yeah, that it must be here on the right-hand side. Obviously, it could have moved since then, but there we go. He gets the confirmation that he needs, and he's going to move on over in that direction. Positional play is everything. The Terran player in blue may have a rather large army here as well, but he's nowhere to be seen. Yet this command center is the last structure here that is preventing Firebird right now from being revealed. That 1 barracks actually is absolutely critical. Siege tanks, though. Oh my god, yeah, that command center is dead. Dude, that barracks was absolutely critical. Remember it was at like 5 HP earlier? Well, that does mean that the Terran player in pink is gonna be revealed here in about 8 seconds. Oh man. Sergio lost one of his mining bases. He does still have a command center, I guess, in the bottom left, and he's starting up another one over here as well. But he's really not producing a rather big army here anymore. I'm kind of surprised Firebird doesn't start up another command center, though, to be honest. Why does he not just rebuild his base? Mr. Firebird, hey. Buddy, you should make another command center, dude. Your opponent sees everything. He knows that that barracks is not just floating around by itself. Look, it's on a hotkey, man. There we go. It will now be aware, or Sergio rather will now be aware of the fact that you've got a flying structure and that it's the last one in the game. Firebird has 3,000 minerals in the bank. He could start up 2 command centers, easy peasy. Speaking of 2 command centers, that's exactly what Sergio is doing. He does not want to be revealed right now. He still does have that smaller army, though. It's only 77 for his 84 army supply. This is getting a little bit crazy. Units-wise, we have 4 Liberators, 8 tanks, And then 8 Marauders, 8 Marines, as well as 9 Vikings here for Firebird. Versus 4 Medivacs, 4 Vikings, 6 Siege Tanks, and 39 Marines. Man, those 39 Marines can really make a big difference. And actually, the anti-armor missile, ooh, that can change the outcome of a game very quickly. Anti-armor missile essentially reduces the armor on all of these units. And Firebird's army, while bigger in a straight-up engagement, is gonna have a hard time fighting if they all lack a couple of armor. Still, Firebird just stumbled across a couple of his opponent's player buildings, and that's all fine and dandy, but he's still revealed. I wonder if he realizes that he's being revealed, though. I guess he should, right? But why does he not make another command center? Maybe he is not aware of the fact that you can get rid of that revelation once again just by making another CC. Ooh, Sergio trying to jump on that one barracks as well. Ooh, all he needs to do is kill the barracks and he wins the game. Right? It's the last structure. It's the absolute last structure here for our player in pink. As long as he snipes it, he's going to be in a good spot. Now, these Vikings are a little low as well. I almost want Firebird to start repairing those too. Once again, though, Sergio has to be careful. The siege tanks are killing whatever they can. It looks like it's only really the Liberators left over right now to continue fighting there versus that command center. But that command center definitely is going to fall here as well. So that means that Sergio's numbers are also dwindling really quick. He doesn't have as many minerals as his opponent, and he's desperately trying to get by with whatever he has. He really needs to go ahead and just pull all of the SCVs out of the gas collection, though. Just start producing Marines again, man. That's the only thing you really need. You need a bunch of depots and a bunch of Marines. Just get those going as soon as possible. Still, Firebird going around the map, trying to figure out where these structures are. There's one innocent barracks here on the right-hand side, but he doesn't want to stray too far either, right? Because if that barracks gets picked off, it doesn't take that many volleys to kill it. If it starts burning, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, the SCVs apparently trying to make their way over here. I really think he needs to just go ahead and make another command center. I'm not sure why he isn't. I guess he's just putting all of his eggs in one basket, trying to win the game with what he's got right now. I'm not entirely sure if it's enough, though. Sergio is still fully aware of where his opponent is located, right? Or at the very least, roughly where it's at. He can judge by the direction of the barracks where the opposing player is headed. Another scan there will confirm that once more the army is ahead of the one flying barracks. This is gonna all be decided in just one big swoop. It's gonna be like a 2-second engagement, and the question is, will the barracks be killed in time? Or will the other player lose all of his army? I feel like that's what we're leading up to right now. Firebird is trying to hunt his opponent's army right now. He's got to be very careful, though. The tanks are sieging up. Ooh, couple Marines do end up finding a grave here. But Sergio just barely manages to slip out there. I don't know why he's not making a bunch more barracks, man. Why are you not making barracks? Oh, there we go. Or, yeah, why are you not making a bunch of supply depots? Well, hold that thought. Looks like we are getting close to that engagement. The final command center has now been found. The one barracks still trailing along, trying its very best. The Marines stimming forward. Once again, trying to get that lucky hit on the Vikings. I don't know if it's a smart way of playing. Still, the barracks is very far back. Siege tanks are gonna siege up once again. Firebird is in a world of hurt here. He's gotta be very careful. But he's slowly, methodically destroying his opponent. And since Sergio isn't really producing anything anyway, this is not bad for him whatsoever. Vikings will be able to find exactly where that CC is located. And that means that Sergio is going to be revealed here in a second as well. This may actually give Sergio the opportunity, though, to jump on these tanks. That's a difficult call to make. Very difficult call to make. The one barracks, man, it's still so very low. Oh, is he gonna go for it? Is he gonna try and snipe the... Oh my god, he's going after them! One barracks, the barracks is taking so much damage! Oh my god, Sergio saw an opportunity. The tank's just recently unsieged, and he manages to snipe the last structure. Meeting the actual win conditions of StarCraft. It's not something we see very often. But he destroyed all of the opposing players' buildings. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next video.